Liquorland are proud partners of the Sash for another season of footy. Enjoy winter your way with Liquorland. How are you enjoying the start to winter, Ryan?
So cold. But nice glass of red Shiraz. You know, Mert likes to say Shiraz, so it really warms up the heart.
Okay, is there a go-show?
Or pepper jack?
Pepper jack?
Yeah,
safe bet.
Don't mind.
Safe bet. Pop into your local Liquorland today and pick up all your favourite drinks. Liquorland, from the land you love. Please drink responsibly. Ricky goes bang, Cedar goes bang, Caldwell goes bang, and Carlton go whoo. This is the Sash, definitely not the official podcast of the Essendon Football Club. I'm your host, Rob, here with you, trying my best to do sound effects live on air. And joining me in studio is Jesse and Mert. Hello, Jesse.
G'day. Another win.
Another win.
And what a great win.
It was very good.
Always good to see the Blues go down.
How you feeling?
Great. Really good.
Yeah.
Fantastic, actually. But do have some concerns, but we'll get to that later. Generally, though, I mean, after 4 wins and being, what are we, 7 or 8?
8 and 5.
8 and 5. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better start. So, I mean, given I can't really remember the last time we were ever at this point in time in a season.
Been a while.
Pretty happy.
Love it, mate. Love, mate. Merty, hello, mate.
G'day, mate.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not bad. How are you?
I've seen better days, but
Yeah.
I have celebrated the win over the weekend, and it was fantastic. How about yourself?
Well, yeah, it deserves celebration. It feels fantastic to beat Carlton, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's just one of the best feelings.
Yeah. They were some of the most salty, sour, feral.
Yeah.
If you throw in an adjective, you've got one, boys, because they were something else on the weekend. Demonstrative. That's a good one. Go on, Mert.
Yeah, I just think they're generally quite disgusting.
Yeah, it's good.
To be honest, seeing their responses, and you see all the footage after the game. All their supporters around the race. You see their fans turning on each other.
Punching on
in the middle of the game, punching on. You hear talk back, and you just can.
Are you joking about that, or did that actually?
Have you seen the video? Oh,
you find yourself just zoned in on talk back for hours on end, and it just warms the cockles of your heart. It's just great to see this absolutely rotten, rancid club imploding at our hands. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, look, I don't work for SEN, but I get a feeling that their ratings would be going up after a Carlton loss. They'd be all sitting there, Hutchie'd be licking his lips going, here we go. Bring in the dollars, everyone, because I have been indulging myself for several weeks now in some of the calls that these people have been making.
There's something else. They're another breed, Carlton. I thought at Anzac Day, I actually thought it was the worst experience I'd really had at the footy in terms of an opposition supporter base just being generally pretty rat shit, to be honest. And my experience on the weekend was actually a really positive one because we won and I was the one giving shit to everyone around me, which is fantastic. It turns out Carlton supporters don't like you mimicking their da-da-da-da-da in the last quarter when they're down by 40 points. So that was a lesson I learned. I gleefully learned on Sunday night. But they like to turn on their own, and this is kind of, I might as well just make this my dog of the week now because
why not?
Dog of the week is the Carlton Football Club.
Yeah, okay.
It's the first time a football club has made it. So
well done.
Carlton finally winning an award, which is good for them. But I think it just speaks volumes about a club, when we've obviously been through some really tough times the last 10, 15 years or so. And I think our response as a supporter base really spoke for itself in that we had record membership in that time around the drug saga, record membership. I think, as a whole, we really stuck by the club and that just showed in pure numbers. Conversely, you see the pure numbers that are turning out for Carlton on a weekly basis, and it seems that their numbers and their fans are coming to games purely to abuse the players. I've never seen anything like, away from those, few kind of instances that I've just mentioned, I've never seen from a whole,
Mm.
supporters feel so entitled.
It's shades of like English soccer because they get
It
very feral.
really is.
Even
and it's
probably European soccer probably gets a bit worse than that. Yeah.
It's some misplaced sense of entitlement. I'm not sure what it is. It's clearly from beyond kind of 20, 30 years ago because they haven't done anything in that time. But for some reason, they feel that they're entitled to come out and abuse the shit out of their players, and they kind of demand better themselves. But I don't know what it is with Carlton, but it is just fantastic to see. And as I said, it really does warm the cockles of your heart.
Yeah, no, it certainly does. I actually, I got my fish and chips on Monday night from Ange Christou at Northcote Fish and Chip Shops, and I said, "No good, Ange," and he said, "No good, mate. No
Yeah.
good." So
Cop that, Ange.
no, he's
Put that in your deep fryer, Ange.
Yeah.
Ange is a lovely bloke, mind you, and they do great fish and chips. And
He's actually not. I
don't-
played footy against him. He's an absolute stinker.
well, their fish and chip shop is great, and I don't want to be bad from there because I love going there. It's good.
Yeah. Him and the rest of the Hawthorn football
He's
team.
a Carlton supporter that played for Hawthorn.
Played for that Hawthorn.
I don't think there's
What
you could
was
get
it?
any
What was the
worse.
team?
The Spartans, man.
Yeah, the Spartans.
You couldn't get
Oh.
any worse combination. A Carlton supporter that plays for the Spartans.
It is funny.
Well,
that, yeah.
not surprised he's a fish and
it-
chip shop as
Find
well.
it very funny that he's got the fish and chip shop as well.
It's
That's,
good. Hey, mate, it's
It fits the bill, doesn't it?
Hey,
It's good to know.
if you live in my area, I can guarantee you it's good. Let's get to the game. That's what we're here to preview. I mean, we could just keep tipping on Carlton for an hour.
I could honestly, I reckon we need to do like a
How good was it seeing Jack Silvani just perish as a father-son? I mean,
How crazy was it
Just-
seeing their supporters going at him, being like, "You're a disgrace to the family."
were they
Yeah.
doing "You're a disgrace to the familia"?
Like,
Were they
yeah.
throwing up these ones as well?
No, well, I mean, yeah, well, it wasn't big Due Metre Pietro.
No, there wasn't any of that level of ethnicity.
So no, there was none of that. But yeah, it's
But there
just-
was a lot of that at times over the weekend. There was a lot
Saying you're a
of
disgrace-
duet net
saying-
Pietro
saying
going
you're
on.
saying you're a
Yeah,
disgrace
the
to your
big Calabrian
family.
king was back.
There was a lot of Calabrianness flying around the G.
Yeah, but
I don't think anyone understood what I meant when I stood up in the third quarter and yelled out, "Due Pietro for his familia
no one got it.
and for Calabria."
No one got it.
No one got it. They like
Yeah.
turn around. They're like, "What is this going on?" And I was dead sober. I hadn't had a beer. It's crazy.
You still
was-
not? Are you still not drinking?
Still not drinking, and honestly, I've never had so much fun at the football. I know the other thing that the guys in front of me, and actually a shout out, I didn't get this guy's name, but he's a listener of the podcast. His mates, his Carlton supporting mates, really didn't like when I had a crack at Charlie Curnow.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What'd you say?
I just called him a loser.
Oh,
And
that's not
like
that bad.
he turned around, he was like a loser, and I was like, he's literally a loser by definition. He's a loser.
Yeah.
Like he's down by 40 points. He's a loser, and he has no forehead.
It's a great. Calling someone a loser is actually one of my favourite insults.
Great insult.
It's a great insult because it's not that offensive. You just
Yeah.
go, "Oh, he's a loser,"
Hmm,
and I feel like
He is.
the only people who get cut about the insult loser are losers.
correct.
Yeah.
So,
Which goes to show
yeah, exactly.
Sunday night.
Because a lot of things that we would say 10, 15 years ago that you shouldn't say anymore, but loser, all good.
Mm.
I endorse people calling people losers. I think it's a good
So would you
one.
endorse
G-rated
us
fun.
going down to old mate's fish and chip store and calling him a loser?
no,
or
no,
no? Okay.
no. Icon Park, yes, but no, not.
Speaking of Ange, I find it really. I do find it. Look, I find it really
We're
funny.
getting so
that
off topic here.
This is good.
This kind of
Ange is great. Stop putting Ant down. I have to go back to this place.
Speaking of Ange, I just find it really. I find it really funny with Carlton supporters that
Okay.
they do the woof now
Yeah.
when Sardi gets the ball.
Yeah,
What's the
And this
wolf?
kind of they do that, the woof,
when he kicks it.
Oh, what?
which is what they used to do it with Ange Christou back in the 90s.
Oh, did they? Ah, gotcha.
And so you'd actually be forgiven. And in fact, Soph actually thought it was a bunch of Essendon supporters. Soph and Gemma on the weekend thought it was Essendon supporters woofing him because he's a dog.
Oh. I
It's not the case. Like
it could have been. It could have been.
he is a dog, yes. But that's not why they're doing it.
That's not why they're doing it. That's
Yeah.
not why they're doing it.
Give it next week, and then they'll be spitting on him.
Yeah,
so
that's what
don't worry about it.
Yeah, gee, they They are something else. I just want to say one last thing. You mentioned that obviously through the dark times, Essendon fans were a bit better. Don't get me wrong, there's always plenty of dark stuff. But I do recall there being a sense of like, let's get through this togetherness about our roughest period.
For sure.
For those people, because that's it, you either gave up or you dug in, which is sort of what I felt they did. But sadly, not the case down at Icon. Let's get into the game. That is the main reason why we're here. Let's start with our favourite Latin pop sensation, Nic Martin, because the boy can play. He bangs, he bangs.
Oh, baby, he moves, he moves.
Oh.
How good was he over the weekend? Great to see, in particular with Mert really being taken out of the midfield mix as a result of Ed Kerno just doing what Ed Kerno does. We really didn't have any of our premier midfielders playing through the middle, and up comes Nic Martin and attended a few centre bounces, played a little bit more on the ball, and 10 coaches' votes for the big man.
He was outstanding. I'm always hesitant to name, a champion player of the game and a similarity, but we do it plenty. There's a lot of Pendlebury about the way that he moves around the ground, because he's not just like, I'm just going to run through 4 guys, but he's just like, time slows when he has the ball. I don't know what it is. Like, I look at him and go, he's going to get tackled. Then it's just like, no, he just
very
glides,
good in traffic.
Glides. Maybe he has a basketball background. I'm not quite sure, but I love him.
I've got a mate who would absolutely love that you've made that comparison, because he very strongly agrees.
Bit faster than Pendles though, which is nice. He's got a bit more of he's a bit quicker off sort of 4 or 5 steps.
At this age of Pendlebury, yes, definitely.
Well, was Pendles ever really that quick?
I mean, look, I can't remember 2010 that well, but I mean, he might have been.
He just kind of glided as well.
Yeah.
He's a freak.
He is a freak.
But I think it's a really pleasing thing to see, and this is certainly something, I don't think we could have really said it prior to this year. But you see guys like Hobbs stepped up, we'll talk about him later, I presume, but he had a massive game. Caldwell as well.
Yep.
Archie, ran with Cripps for most of the game, and I thought played a really top game.
11 touches in the first quarter.
Yeah. So we've got a number of guys who can now step up, and obviously Martin was probably leading that pack on the weekend, and so it puts us in a really great position of strength, because when a Mert is getting tagged, then the predicament for the opposition is that, it's not just about Mert anymore. Like, we can move Mert forward. And I mean, that move really broke open the game, I thought.
Such a smart move. And God, didn't he look good in the forward line, Mert? It was the first time we've ever really seen him play that half forward role. And it was similar to the way that Shield played it, in the sense that they're both such explosive players that no small defender could probably go with them pace-wise if they pushed off well. But that ball use, I mean, he was the 7th highest rated player on the ground. They did a comparison, him and Walsh. Walsh had 35 touches and was the 29th highest rated player on the ground, and Mert had 17 touches and was the 7th highest rated player on the ground.
Crazy.
It's an interesting kind of dynamic as well. If you look at Carlton's midfield, I think, you've got a bunch of guys who are really, good on the inside, but very one-paced, and don't really have, it's easy to say now, and I'll gleefully say it, don't have too many other weapons to their game. Whereas, as I was saying just then, you've got a Martin who's clearly good inside, outside, can use the ball, is probably the best user in our side, close to it. Mert, very similar in that respect. Mert also has the defensive side of things down pat at the moment, where he's laying just some incredible tackles. Then you got guys like Caldwell doing the absolute grunt work, Ben Hobbs doing the grunt work, Archie, a bit of both. It's a bit of a threat, I think, because and keeping in mind that these kids are seriously young still. You take one out and someone else steps up and takes their place. So
that's it. It's system, not personnel, is what Brad's been talking about. But I mean, you only have to go back 12 months, and it didn't seem like we had moves to play. It didn't seem like we had options. But it's like, suddenly he can go here, and he can go here, and he can go here. And if everyone who's injured at the moment comes back into the team, that's what we're going to have to do.
And I think that's the kind of the next step for us, is both as a team, but also just as a coaching staff. And I'm sure this would be openly acknowledged. But from the start of the season, it was acknowledged by Brad that he didn't know what the best 22 necessarily was. He didn't know what that midfield rotation was, and I don't think he got it right to start with. We didn't get enough time for Hubbs and Caldwell.
It was too much weighted to those experienced guys, and right, they got preference because they have the experience, but like. What was it, first 4 games where it was just the same 4 guys who went in there? Like, give someone an opportunity.
It's so good to see Archie in there, though, on the weekend.
He attended the most of anyone.
Yeah, and that's something that I've really been wanting to see. And that experience that he gets for running with the reigning Brownlow medalist, an absolute monster of his own game, and basically breaking even. I think Cripps had 19, Archie had 18 in the end. Like, that's just huge for him.
It is.
I think those kind of roles really suit him as well, knowing how competitive he is.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good size-wise next to him as well. He didn't look outmanned size-wise by any means.
Yeah, and Cripps is an absolute monster. Back to Nic though, like, just I still can't believe that we got this guy for nothing, and he's touch wood, barring any injuries, he's on track to have an All-Australian year in his second year. And then, my God, what's he going to do after that? Like,
yeah, it makes a bit of a mockery of the draft system, doesn't it?
It does a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm really looking forward to is him putting on a little bit more size and becoming more of a threat early in the forward line. We've noticed this year his ability to push forward and take some contested marks, and it's just ever more so going to become a presence when he puts on a bit more size and has that ability to read the play a little more. We know how good of a set shot he is. I have a feeling, I don't see there being any reason why he can't get to, possibly a similar size to a Langford at one point in time in his career. I'm not saying that he will have the same contested marking abilities, but he definitely has a better contested mark than Langford did in his second years. And he played as a forward his entire junior career. And that's to have a midfielder that has the capacity to be a forward in that sense. And he's an out and out great distributor of the ball. I mean, Langford was a makeshift midfielder that came through. I see a lot of similarities between them as players, but I do see that Martin, is more of an outright midfielder than what Langford is, but his ability to go forward is really what I'll be, because you can't really ask for much more of him at the moment from a midfield point of view. But if he can,
he's incredible.
Rotate forward, and I assume that will be the case once we have a full suite of players in the team. If he can change that game to 25 and kick 3, which I could definitely see him doing because he's done it multiple times before.
Could, yeah.
But just consistently doing that, I mean, he's already almost elite in my eyes.
He's incredible, and he's amazing outside in the wing.
He's a god.
He's shown what he can do going inside and winning contested ball.
I think he stays on the wing for me. He's just because I think that wing position is really underrated, and it's just invaluable to actually have 2 good wings. And I can't remember, I remember probably 2 or 3 years ago, just talking about how much we needed that wing. And this is around the time that we got in Tom Cutler, and he obviously didn't end up working out for us. But it's just...
We had Coxie and Cutler playing on the wings.
Yeah.
It was grim.
It's just so important to be able to actually have good run-all-day wingers. And at the moment, we've got 2 of them in Duzza.
How good's he been as well?
Yeah.
And for both of them, their attack on the ball, inside, is just as good as it is outside.
Correct.
What I'd like to see from Martin is I would like to see him, and he does this, he's a goal kicker. I'd just like to see him, sitting on 1 goal a game. And even if he's more of maybe he takes kind of the forward half of the wing, runs the wing obviously, but he ends up being the more attacking one. Duzza kind of sits back and sits off a half-back flank wing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And maybe they work in tandem like that. I would like to see him just, if he gets to the end of the season and he's kicked 20, 25 goals, then that's an incredible season, sitting on however many disposals, 20 to 25 a game as well.
9 so far, so he's averaging 0.7 a game. He's also... signed for next year, and that's where his contract expires. And I know we've had a lot of talk about the war chest that Essendon has, but we'll have to keep, the $1 million aside that we're going to have to pay him from next year because, geez, he's warranting it at the moment.
Yeah. I wonder if he would actually get something around that mark. I don't think so. That would be...
maybe not that much just yet, but I think he'll be getting
That's
a fair bump up if he keeps playing the way
I'm
that
almost
he is.
like happy if he doesn't make All Australian, to be very honest with you, just for those reasons that
To
I wouldn't
pay
mind.
money.
Well, yeah, correct. I mean, it's going to get to a point in time where with the talent that we have on this list, if we are, paying Redmond and Parrish both, over 700, and then next year we're paying Martin over 700, that cap starts to reduce pretty
Are you
significantly.
Adrian Dodoro?
I think we're we're currently at the very bottom of the cap. Like we're really paying no one.
We've got a long way to go.
I think we got Paco and Shield.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
And maybe Peter on.
Merritt on a bit.
Because Peter did that
Yeah,
before your
Pietro,
extension. He'd be on
he's
a bit.
one.
Last one on Nic Martin before we go. I don't know. I had a little bit of time this morning. I thought I just wanted to put something together. So I'm just going to play something for you if Derek's ready to make sure that this plays. I just want you guys to hear this and just let me know your opinions on this.
New and exciting.
It's a brand new sound for radio.
Making you feel sexy and fresh. Hit music right now.
Best Latin pop performance.
Nic Martin.
Nic Martin.
Nic Martin.
He.
Essendon Football Club player.
He.
Essendon Football Club player. Is
Seamless.
Yeah, incredible. It's
That worked perfectly.
It's amazing what some AI can do for you.
Was there AI in that? I didn't even notice it. I thought that was just a song.
That's the original. Yeah, sorry. I thought that would be good. That'd go down well. Yeah, I love Nic Martin. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Peter, talk to me. Gents, talk to me about Peter.
Calabrian King.
Yeah.
He returns.
He returns. We said on Thursday, Jesse, and I said to you, what I want to see is in the first 5 minutes. It took 6 minutes, but I'll take it. I want to see the ball go inside and Peter run up, take a mark and go slot one back and we'll all just feel calm. And that's exactly what happened.
And we didn't lose in the end. That was my prediction that was going to happen and then we'd lose by 40 and not kick a goal for the rest of the game. It was amazing. He looks in almost better shape than he did last year. He doesn't look like he's carrying as much weight, which probably is a symptom of, doing your shoulder. You're not probably in the gym lifting a whole lot of weights. You're probably running. But he looked great. It didn't look like he missed a beat at all. And I mean, obviously the stats would tell the story there, but what a difference we look like as a team having him there. And the best part about that, I was a bit concerned with the way that we moved the ball in the first half. We were a little bit Peter focused. Really, it was back to Peter right or bust.
Yeah.
But we started moving the ball a bit more meticulously and we looked for more options. We lowered our eyes a little bit more and it brought him more into the game when we started looking for other people. So good to see. Look, I know a lot of people had the Moz on and have the Moz on Wiedemann, but I think in reality he played all right over the weekend. He obviously didn't set the world on fire, but some of the things that go unnoticed that he's doing is some of that defensive work. Like he was blocking really well for Peter over the weekend. He was presenting well and taking the marks up the ground that he needed to as a centre half forward. So for anyone out there because I know that he seems to be with Melbourne and Essendon now, just the punching bag. Like this guy's clearly lacking confidence and it's not going to help if you're yelling over the sidelines, this shit. So just
We're not Carlton supporters. Yeah.
Give him a bit of time and just be patient with him. Like it's his first year at the club. Peter's first year at the club was not anywhere close to being impactful either. So, just give him a chance. And I reckon that him and Peter are going to set the world on fire in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I think him and even Langford a little bit, but in that first half, that just I don't think they were spreading well enough to give Peter those opportunities. And then there was definitely a conversation, whether it be quarter time or half time, about making sure, either you're blocking your guy or his guy, or you're getting out of the way. Because suddenly we just saw the capability of what happens when Peter's one-on-one, and unless that defender bodies him and gets in front of him, you don't stop him. That's it. You just don't stop him. And there was even that one where he brought it down and then it got slapped out of his hands and it was play on for some strange reason.
The umpire and the Twitter account has the umpire stuffed up. The only people watching that game who thought that wasn't a mark.
Yeah, it was like in his hands and then it was just like bonk, straight out of it. So
incredible.
Yeah, they were.
You go. Sorry. It makes it a lot easier when you're playing against some mental pygmies like the Carlton defenders were. If you see how simple some of our forward setups were to lose our direct opponents, it was just it's one where Peter just doubled back. And then he let out again.
Yeah,
and he completely lost
Lewis Young.
Yeah.
He had no idea.
And I mean by 10 metres.
Yeah.
And he led 20 metres. It was remarkable.
The one where...
Yeah, it was like Lewis Young cartoon,
Yeah.
when Peter Wright doubles back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one...
Looney Tunes.
The one,
Crazy.
the one where Peter ends up sliding and taking the mark. So, there's two Carlton defenders. I think Lewis Young saying 5 metres in front of it and then others 10 metres in front of it. And you just see them looking at each other being like...
Silvani, who
what's
almost
going
got
on?
it.
Yeah, what's going on?
That play, we need to speak about that play because that play from Mason Redmond where he ran from half back, gave the hands, got the hands, gave the hands, got the hands.
That was probably his best game, I think, for the club that he played for this. Well, not for the club, but for this season. His run off half back. I know you probably I'm a bit biased to the attacking side of his game, but I think that the attacking side of his game over the weekend, he set up so many attacking chains for us off the halfback over the weekend. Looks so good. And his timing, just the runs and the timing that he has.
Yeah, he's had a few rippers this year though, Redmond, particularly at the start, I think. He's had 31 disposals against Wet Toast, which doesn't obviously count. 27 against Richmond, 30 against Brisbane, and he's kicking goals in all of those. So I think he's had a couple of stinkers. Like St Kilda game, he obviously had a stinker, but I think he's probably having the strongest season I've seen him have sometime.
He was really good.
Yeah,
he was really, really good. I would like to talk about Paco. Because whilst we have heralded the move of Mert going forward and allowing other guys to come in, what Paco did justified a conversation we had on Thursday. And I said, if we win the game, Paco has to be an absolute bull in the middle. And I'm not talking blowing out of packs, running and kicking for 50. I mean, just getting it, taking one or two guys on and getting that handball out. And he was incredible in the midfield.
He's a centre clearance king.
He's awesome at it. He had the most centre clearances of anyone. He had the most score involvements of any Essendon player. I mean, he was equal with Martin and Hobbs. And he led the game for score launches as well. He was just getting there, starting it off, being the guy who can, take those big hits from Cripps or Cher or whoever it may be, and then just letting the other boys do their thing.
Yeah.
And I think, when he has those games where he kicks 5 and he's just taking the piss and kicking from 50, then the media's like, oh, Jake Stringer, what can he do? But
but the hunger, in his belly at the moment.
Yeah, but no one's going to be talking about this throughout the week. No one's going to be talking about the game that he played. And I don't think if he does that our other mids do as much as they do. I think he was vital in that role.
100%. Played a massive role.
Yeah, to me, it was similar to that third quarter we played against Collingwood. Obviously a different result in the end, but he was instrumental in that game, in that previous game, in just getting the ball moving, winning the contest out of the middle, and then, moving the ball forward. And if he didn't actually get a clean possession, he'd at least kind of bullock his way through a pack and get it moving our way and get it out to someone. It was, virtually exactly the same on Sunday night in that, if he didn't get it out, and there were a few times he actually didn't end up getting a clean possession, he at least got the ball moving to one of our players, whether it was a Caldwell or a Hobbs or an Archie or someone else.
Well said.
You can really tell, can't you, when he's on? I mean, I know there have been
He
a few,
changes the game for us,
Yeah.
especially without Parrish in the side.
and every time the ball is near him, he's somehow getting his hands near it, making an impact. Whereas there's other games, such as sort of the North game, even the West Coast game, he's clearly a big game player. He steps up and he rises to the occasion. But you can really tell the difference because, over the weekend, just every time he's near the ball, he's doing something. He's getting his hand to it. He's just doing something to influence the context.
And I think the defensive side of his game is clearly something that's changed. And I think that's obviously something that's changed for a number of our players under Brad Scott. And I was speaking to a mate before about what that has meant and what that seems to mean for our leadership group. And, not necessarily merit, but also definitely merit. But the guys around him and the guys in the midfield and guys like Stringer, who are senior players within the side, and you see how much, they tackle, they make second efforts, the 1%ers. We saw it the previous week. Like, he arguably won us the game against North with that smother and then the tackle. And, he's doing it week in, week out now. So I agree with what you said at the start, Rob. I don't think he's really getting enough recognition in the media, and I don't expect him to, and I'm sure he's fine with that. But yeah, I mean, Lloydie did pick it out. Good old Lloydie last week. But yeah, I think it's all part of that new system that we're building under Brad Scott.
Did you see him get to Jai Menzies? That was another thing that was great when, Jai Menzies was on a sort of a 2-on-1, about to be the meat and the sandwich, and he just went up for the spoil and kept the ball, and it went out. And Paco was the first to come up to him, give him a massive pat on the back and a high five. And it just goes to show how much everyone's bought in to that culture of just playing. Like, I've never seen us play more like a team since I can remember.
No, it's well
it's
said.
Awesome.
It's a good segue. Ari, who's on our Sash W podcast, sent me this yesterday and backs up your point, Mert. So we've won the tackle count in 12 of our 13 games this season. The only game we didn't win it was round 1 against Hawthorn. We won by 59 points and we had double the possession just about, which is why it didn't happen. But I think that shows clearly the growth in what we're doing in our ability to pressure the ball forward. Like, I had SEN on the car then, and, that bloody champion data guy who just goes, purely based on the numbers, Carlton should have won and all this kind of stuff. It's like, you saw the pressure that we put on them. Yeah, right, they got in ball inside 50 a lot, but guys are taking shots from 60 metres out in the boundary, just hoping it'll roll through, and it doesn't. And, we had that many tackles inside 50. We won so much of the ball in that area. Like, yeah, this is a massive growth area from us that is what will help us get, to where we want to be. By no means with a finished article with it, but 12 or 13 times, win the tackle count. So
yeah, it's pretty big. I guess it leads me to something that I wanted to have a chat with the two of you about, just regarding the defensive profile of where our game has evolved to and where it was. I know back sort of after round 5 or 6, we were ranked in the top 2 or 3 teams in the AFL for our defensive profile and our attacking profile. And I was looking at the On the Couch show the other day, and they had us ranked as like 18th for stopping defensive transition, 18th for conceding inside 50s, and then 17th for one other stat. And it's a really interesting spot to be, because I can definitely say I don't think that we are defending as well as what we were within the first 4 to 5 rounds. We did look a lot more solid, and we weren't conceding as many inside 50s. We seem to be really vulnerable for at least one quarter, and that quarter is really detrimental, particularly against good teams, which is where my concern comes playing finals football with the brand that we're playing at the moment. There's only really been 1 or 2 games this entire year that we've strung together 4 solid quarters of football. And in the quarter that we do fall asleep, we are quite literally Xanaxed, just snoozing and dead to the world. if you look at the game against Carlton over the weekend, the second and for large portions of the fourth quarter, we were getting slammed by them.
Yeah.
They were winning the ball.
Oh, they were.
Their inside 50 count. It was actually concerning at the start of that fourth. It was looking like the exact same as how we played against Collingwood. We destroyed in the third quarter, put the foot to the throat, and we just sat back and played this. We conceded defensively. We took that back step, and look, it paid off because Caldwell, we just needed one goal. It was the same against Collingwood. We just needed one goal in that last quarter, but it took us a really long time to get there, and the same with the second. But then when you look at the way that we play, you look at the tackling pressure and you look at the intensity and the 1%ers and all of that's there.
Yeah.
But I'm just not sure what's breaking down at the moment and whether it almost seems like Brad Scott is happy to concede that inside 50. But what I'm confused about is as whether or not it's sustainable, because when you look at, if we played against a really good side, we would have lost yesterday. If we played against a Port Adelaide, a Brisbane, they would have kicked 7 goals in a quarter like that against us. If we played another quarter like that, they would have kicked another 3 or 4 goals. So it's not sustainable against good teams. And I'm not saying, like, I know that we're not the finished product, but I'm just trying to understand where it's going wrong for us at the moment and whether it is an actual strategy that Brad's trying to implement with this uncontested style of football and so on.
Yeah.
What's your take?
Like, I mean, I guess this is the hard question, really, and I'm sure that this is the discussion that the coaches are having about what do we have to do to improve that area. I will say though, I've watched most of the game back in a replay, and I'm firmly of the opinion that a lot of Carlton's inside 50s are absolute junk. Like,
I feel that as well. We push a lot of the entries. We're pushing teams out wide.
We push them wide.
Like they're not getting deep to the top of the square entries.
Exactly. And look, they
shallow.
They had that like field position, like they were talking about on the telecast. Like they had that field position a fair bit in the second quarter, but the first quarter in particular, third quarter they obviously got nowhere near it. But like, you know, Chincotta, whatever his name is, he kicked that awesome goal at the very start of the game. They had probably 5 or 6 more shots like that, which went nowhere near
From
it. And
60, 70.
you know, they're low percentage shots. You're hoping for it to roll in. Some of them went out of bounds. Some of them went in for like points. Some of them we rushed them. Like, yeah, right. They had 14 or 15 more inside 50s enough. How many of those were actually like guys getting hit on the lead? I don't think that
Not
many
many.
were. So, whilst yeah, I do agree with you. Teams are still moving it well against us. It's still something we have to grow, particularly in this game. I don't think that the numbers reflect it quite so much. That's my take at least, Mert.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a couple of things to it. I think one thing I've noticed is how significant the midfield dominance has been for us, and that seems to be where, you know, I mean, it is and has been kind of the case for a long time for most sides across the comp, other than probably Richmond in their glory years. But it all starts in the middle. We all know that. And that seems to really be the case for us. When we're playing well, when we played that quarter against Collingwood, when we played the third quarter against Carlton.
It's just midfield domination.
It's midfield dominance. It's winning the centre clearance. It's having those contested ball winners actually clear the ball and get it out, feed it out to our guys like Martin and, you know, whoever else. I think that's kind of been the key thing for us, and it's been a massive thing with Parrish out. It was, I think, partly as well. Like I was actually surprised to see today that Merritt has basically seemed to have taken the mantle from Parrish as far as getting a lot of clearances and centre work as well. But yeah, I think part of it as well recently is that, and you know, I was quite surprised with our performance on the weekend and how strong it was, because I think we match up badly against Carlton in that their strengths seem to be what our weaknesses are, and that's what I thought coming into the game. They've got 2 massive key tools who are Coleman medalists. You know, we don't have the strongest backline at the moment,
Particularly not in that position.
not in that position.
We
and
we handle small and mid-size.
well, not
players
just
pretty
not for height,
Yeah.
basically, and we saw that with Joe Danaher. And then on the inside, without a Darcy Parish and Shield
And Setterfield.
and Setterfield, then, you know, I thought that we'd be susceptible to being hurt on the inside. And as it turned out, we were able to basically dismantle them in one quarter of footy. So I think as well, we're a really young side and we're clearly hurt at the moment. We're clearly, not everyone's running on top of the ground as well as they would. We've been dying for this break.
Yep.
And I think, we clearly saw that against North. We've seen that in other games as well, where we just haven't been able to maintain a decent kind of level of football for a full 4 quarters. And yeah, I mean, even against North, that first quarter, it seemed that we were going to blow them off the park, and then we kind of got reduced to their level, and they ended up playing some really good footy. I thought that kind of happened again against Carlton, and then after halftime, we were able to blow them away. So I expect we'll be a lot better after the break when we got a few numbers back. Parrish will make the world of difference into that midfield. We've seen his clearance numbers, his contested ball numbers are still leading the club, even after 5 rounds out.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that'll make a massive difference. And of course, Peter as well, I think will make a big difference as far as the forward end is concerned.
Do you have any concerns that back half of the year that a young group may struggle to keep the momentum going?
No, I actually don't this time, to be honest. I think if you look at how guys like Caldwell and Hobbs, who, obviously spoken about them a bit already, how they're growing into the game and how like their games, both of those guys have just blown me out of the water. They've been incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
how good's Caldwell's kicking been as well?
To think of how far Caldwell has come since the start of the year, where he's kind of, I personally had a few question marks over where he was going. He's kind of getting, sub 15 disposals most weeks, and he's just stepped up hugely in the last couple of weeks. Hobbs, obviously, Martin as well. Like, these kids are just leading from the front. And then it seems that Mert is just really taken the mantle of the leader that we've been crying out for under Brad Scott. And I really firmly believe that that's Brad Scott's influence on that. So
for sure,
I think with Brad at the helm, I also think, with some of the personnel on our side, and then you look at some of the competition for spots coming below them, like Sardis looks like he's just playing really good footy as well. He'll be pushing for a spot after the bye. There's a number of them. Jaden Hunter up forward will be an interesting predicament in the second half of the year. Voss has, been thereabouts the whole year and is an absolute mongrel competitor as well. So I think things, and, we hope we've got a couple of kids as well who could come and play in defence. I think and hope things in the second half of the year will just go from strength to strength.
That's fair. Jai Caldwell, awesome. You gave him a shout out. I really enjoyed Ben Hobbs's Joel Selwood impression. I thought that was fabulous.
He needs to stop doing that.
Yeah, but I found it very interesting though because
what's the impression? Raising his arm?
No. He knew he was going to get hit by Sard, and he lowered his body, and Sard just collected him high.
He did it a couple of times.
Yeah,
as well.
He's done it a few times, and it's definitely something he's taken out of the Selwood book. Because it's not like he's not doing like a Charlie Spargo and just leading with his head and hoping for contact. He's just like, I'm just going to lower my body, and you've got to hit me. And Sard wasn't able to change it up. And then Flip gave us a 10 out of 10 dive, and we got a goal in that little play, which is fantastic. He they were hot on their hands in the back that game.
The whole umpiring was
the
hot.
They were so trigger happy.
Game.
So trigger happy.
They were, and they haven't been calling it all year. In all fairness, though, Flip's been owed about 10, so he was bound to get one go his way. And in all fairness, he still had both hands in his back and pushed him whilst he was in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem with Flip, I don't think he's figured out that when you decide to actually leap at the ideal time, players will wait and push you as you're jumping. I just don't think that. Is it Sam or Tom DeConning? I can't remember.
Tom is Sam's at Geelong.
Yeah, look, he was owed a couple, and I think he'll get a couple more this year.
Yep, no, that's fair. Back six, wanted to give a shout out. Great stat that I'm sure some of you saw. So, from 109 disposals of the back six, 104 were effective, which is pretty wild. So,
I reckon they were all hindies as well. That ruined it.
I was going to say,
turned the ball over
a
lot.
Can tell you which ones weren't.
Yeah, so maybe it's. I mean, I'm not sure who they actually include for this because I've got Redmond, Heppel, McGrath, Ridley, Laverde, BZT. So maybe if they didn't include Hind, but either way. So
I actually thought Hindy played a really good game. So
Yeah,
for a few, couple of
yeah, I thought he was fine. So what have I got here? Hold on. So yeah, Redmond 23 disposals at 95.7%. Heppel the same. McGrath 21 at 95%. Ridley 20 at 100%. Laverde 12 at 100%. BZT 10 at 90%. And I don't have Nick Hind on my list for some reason. So yeah. Obviously there is, those stats get padded when you're doing the little side to side stuff that they do. But they played really.
Do you know
well.
what I'd love to
and
see?
Dustin Heppel probably deserves a shout out, to be honest.
Yeah,
Oh,
Heppel's been
absolutely.
massive.
Yeah.
I would love to see Hind dropped when we have a full team. Well, not even a full team, and Caldwell put to half back playing in his role.
No
I
way.
I don't think
Strongly
I
disagree.
Why?
Because he's
Where would you put him half forward?
Caldwell. I'll put him in an extended midfield rotation based on
And
what we
rotate
played
him off
earlier in
half
the
back
year.
through the midfield.
No, he's half back is for outsiders.
So you put him at half forward then and rotate him through the midfield.
I'll probably put him at half forward over half back. Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I think he has more value going forward because he can take a mark and he can kick a goal as we've seen.
Correct.
I feel like
but we don't have. But I reckon he's one of the only players that can actually defend as well.
Yeah.
So why would we don't have a half back that can defend at the moment?
Well, I think the idea
I
is
think we do.
I think the idea is that you probably want to
I
defend
don't
from
think
the
Nic
front.
Martin can defend.
I think the idea is you
Can
want
you?
to. I think
Do you
the
actually think he can defend?
I think he can defend a small.
yeah.
Oh, it's questionable.
I think the idea is you want to
We've
defend
got
from
Mason
the front.
Redmond who can defend.
Mm.
I think we got heaps of halfbacks that can defend. I don't think that's. I think our backline's way too stacked to be chucking a midfielder in it through it as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I
a bit of a Dacos vibe. That's what I'm getting for it.
I don't think he's enough of an outside player, to be honest.
I think he's a great kick. Do you not?
Yeah, no, I think he is, but I think he
His
has.
best asset is his hands and
Yeah.
his work below his knees and his work in the contest.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
I think halfbacks you either want to be lightning quick and elite by foot, and I don't think Caldwell is lightning quick. I think he's better at just winning hard footy. So I think he's got better assets than being a halfback.
yeah.
So put it to me then. I've made my suggestion. Who replaces Nic Hind? Because he's just not it. He really isn't.
I thought he was good on the weekend.
I
Like he
think
had a
he was
couple
okay.
of.
He's all right. He's not. He's
He take-
serviceable.
He
at
takes the
best.
game on. He's a point of difference in that he's actually got a bit of pace. And invariably he's going to take the game on. So obviously he's had a couple of stinkers. On the weekend he was good. He obviously missed.
I still
had
think he
that
turns the
absolute-
ball over too much in the back line.
He does, but I think he's much more like. I think the guys that are coming in that are realistically looking at replacing him, one is probably Massimo, and I don't think Massimo at this stage, and I hope he builds on this because I think he could be a really good player. Massimo's just too small at this stage, and
Yeah,
I haven't seen him defend at all.
Yep.
He's a great
Yeah.
user of the footy. Away from that, I don't know who's really pushing for his position, and I think that's probably realistically that's the reflection of why he's actually in the side.
What about Coxie?
Maybe one day. I don't know.
But Coxie, you're taking the pace out of the side.
Yeah,
if you're putting Coxie in.
I think that's the issue. It's the same thing with Kelly. It's like, yeah, right, Kelly can defend, but he's not fast and he's not someone who rebounds the ball. Who knows? Maybe one day one of the Davey boys can play off halfback flank. Like, I think I said this.
like this.
I said this sometime in the last month. I can't remember which show I said it on, but I said when we go to a trade period of season, I believe that somewhere we need to be looking is halfbacks because whilst Dyson Heppel is playing awesome, may play one more year after this. If this isn't the last year, like he's not
It's
going
a
to be
deficiency for sure.
You know what I mean? And then you got Hind. Massimo's still needs to prove that there's other things he can do. We've got a bunch of young kids who just aren't ready for AFL football yet. So
Maybe we're drafting a halfback again this year.
we might be
Rob?
drafting a halfback. Look, I think they'll develop into a midfielder. Yeah. So yeah, look, I just think it's an area that we need to improve on.
Yeah.
Because you want McGrath playing more of a lockdown role. Those other guys are doing a great job, as we know, but I think there's improvement to have in that position for mine.
Yeah.
For mine. So yeah. Any other goods or bads you guys want to pick out? Because there's a lot we haven't covered, or people who maybe have not got
Good
a shout out.
seeing all four talls play well together.
Mm.
That was a good for me.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if we were ever going to see that turn out to be a positive, but seeing Flip, Drapes, Weeds and Wright all playing seemed to work really well.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like we didn't seem slow by
Yeah.
any means. We definitely won the aerial contest around the ground. We looked like we were really in control. It's probably the first time I've really looked at an Essendon lineup and thought pretty much in all areas of the ground, aside from fullback, we looked pretty convincing from a defensive point of view.
Yeah.
From a marking point of view, I mean.
Yeah.
I still think we need to get more out of our rucks. A lot more out of our rucks if
Yeah.
we're going to play this two ruckman thing.
Yeah. Well, like Drapes was clearly not 100% as we know, and then got subbed out and is now on the injury list.
Is he?
He's listed as injured with a hip.
Oh.
So
Dang.
fingers crossed the buyer's enough for him to go because
TBC.
TBC, the dreaded TBC. So heading over to Perth in a couple of weeks to play against potentially Darcy and Luke Jackson without him looks pretty scary because I think you'd have to play Flip and Brian because I think Wiedemann would get towed up by Luke Jackson. So
Yeah.
could be a scary one if Drapes isn't available.
Cross that bridge when we get to it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't mentioned Jordan Ridley.
I was about to say Jordan Ridley needs a shout out.
Yeah.
All Australian.
Yeah. Chuck him in.
Chuck him in.
Yeah.
Get him
Yeah.
in there.
Should be by the end of the season. But
I'd hope so.
Won't be.
Carl Wilkie's dropped off significantly. He's probably one of the only players that was...
Do they play the same role? I thought Cal Wilkie's more of like a proper fullback, isn't he? As opposed,
It's not about your roles.
of course, as we know.
It's true.
Yeah.
But Carl has dropped off, which is going to help Rids.
Don't tell any St Kilda fans that. One thing St Kilda fans hate is if you just question Cal Wilkie to them, they get real like, Cal Wilkie? Don't say that about him. He's gone. He's like, well, calm down, man.
There's one here.
He's not here. He's not paying attention.
Yeah.
Seriously. Not an eyelid bat.
Not an eyelid about it. Boys, just want to shout out to our fantastic mates at Ticket Blaster for all the amazing work that they do. Amazing seats at the MCG. Amazing seats at Marvel. We've got a string of Marvel games coming out the second half of the year. Oh boy, do they look good. The best seating in football. In football, boys.
Unbelievable.
Take someone special. That Crows game shape out to be a big one on the Sunday Arvo. Who else? They've got North there again. We've got West Coast there.
Was I dreaming, or was there a game at Marvel this year and they had the
Doggies.
roof open and it was raining and the ground was...
I think you dreamed that.
Yeah, that's a dream.
That's a
I
dream.
don't think so. Maybe I did dream that because I thought that's obscure. That's obscure that happened.
To open the roof and it to be raining is some absolute, like, unless they do it deliberately to like
I
feed
thought
the
they just
grass during
closed
the
it
week.
all the time now. 'cause
Yeah,
you
they don't
can't-
ever have it
You can't
open.
see it with the broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you can't actually see the footy.
Yeah, it's because they designed it wrong.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because they
Dumb.
Because they're smart.
stuffed it up. They stuffed it up. Boys, let's take a break. We'll do some hot takes at the end of the show because we've got to get to Paul. So let's come back after the break. We'll chat to Paul about the VFL, which will be great.
Jaden.
We'll chat about Jaden and Elijah and all the fellas. So we'll be back after this. This halftime break is brought to you by Liquorland. Enjoy winter your way with Liquorland, like the amazing Carlton draft bottles available in singles, sixes, and slabs. Murdy, I know you love a Carlton draft, mate.
I like them cold, I like them hard, and I like them long.
There we go. Liquorland have all your drink needs for when the siren calls. Liquorland, from the land you love. Please drink responsibly. Welcome back, everybody. It is time for the VFL wrap with our great friend, Paul Cousins. Hello, Paul.
Hello, boys. How are we on this? What is it?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, geez, they throw me when they do this. Tuesday night.
Yeah. We're good. We're good. Pretty positive in here, aren't we, Mert?
Oh, yeah.
Lads,
It's a great
the
Tuesday.
AFL boys beat Carlton on the weekend. If you're not positive tonight, you're never, ever going to be.
It's true.
Yeah, no, that's pretty fair, Paul. Pretty fair. Sadly, not the same result down at Princess Park on Sunday.
No, thanks for bringing it up. I sort of wiped it from the memory until you called. But no, unfortunately, it was a good game of footy. It really was a good game of footy, particularly early. The first half was pretty hot. And, look, we probably ran out of gas a bit, to be honest. I mean, it sounds simple, but they were able to finish off the game a bit better than us and probably with a bit more run in their legs than we had for a variety of reasons. And, after a bit of a sort of seesaw game for the day from late in the third quarter on, unfortunately, they had our measure.
Really important question. How are the dim sims down at Princess Park over the
Believe it
weekend?
or not, for once I actually had to work and was on the bench for the day. So I didn't get any dimmies and I was flat on that, let me tell you. After Rob putting me onto the dimmies at Preston and missing out on them, to go from that to missing out on them at Princess Park, I was pretty flat all round. But I had the headset on Sunday for a rare occasion, so no dim sims for me.
Wow, great. Well, I guess in more important news, we had our first draft pick, Elijah, play his second game. How'd you take his game?
Yeah, he went well. He obviously got to play a full game this week, which was a bonus for him, and he found quite a lot of footy. He had some real bursts where he found a lot of footy in a short period of time, and then probably, still sort of showed that he hasn't played a lot of footy for a while when he kind of probably drifted out at times as well. But I think he ended up with 25 and 7 clearances, so it's hard to argue with those numbers. And he gave us some really good drive out of the midfield at times, and he had a few real eye-catching sort of moments where he was able to turn onto his leg and sort of drill a pass to a forward coming at him 40 metres away, which was really nice to see out of our midfield group. And had a few shots on goal, wasn't able to kick a goal, but all in all, a really positive day for Elijah.
Yeah, good to hear, Paul. We all love that. Now, we love the name Jaden down at Bomberland. We got a new Jaden on the park at the moment. Jaden Hunter has come over from WA. He's onto his second game now. 4 goals. How'd you see his game?
I was going to say I'm the best Jaden and talk some smack about Jados Laverty, but I thought I'd not, given he played his 100th on the weekend.
Yeah, and I think you'd also be in a bit of... You might be in a bit of trouble as well, Paul. I reckon he'd take you pound for pound.
Yeah. I've got about 300 pounds on him, but he'd still take me, don't worry.
I think he's missing a couple of teeth at the moment too. So, yeah.
He got a decent fat lip out of the week. And, hey, he won't be listening, I doubt. Oh, wait, he might. He might be a big fan of the Sash boys.
How do you know he's not listening? What are you saying, Paul?
He's an absolute legend of a human, is Jados. So, wrapped to see him get to 100 after lots of injury and struggle early on. He's got to his 100th game, which I think is just a massive credit to him and a sign of pretty great perseverance.
Yeah,
for a pretty great person. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Jaden Hunter was terrific on the weekend, really good. He sort of, I think, it had been such a whirlwind for him the week before us. We actually caught up for a drink and some dinner with a few of us after the game on Sundays. The boys have got a bit of a week off this week, but I was having a chat to him there and I said, when did you get over the week before? And I think he flew over Friday afternoon from Perth for the first time before playing with us last weekend.
That's crazy.
So he'd literally been in Melbourne about 24 hours, I think, when he met all his teammates and ran out for the first time. So his head was spinning then, understandably. And we talked last week about the fact that it wasn't sort of until the last quarter, I think, that he started to find his feet in the game, understandably. So obviously a much better preparation for him this week and a bit more normal. And you could see he was really comfortable. He led out. He leads really strongly at the footy. Has a terrific pair of hands and most importantly for me is a fantastic kick for goal. Which is, I know it seems really obvious, but it's just the most ridiculously underrated thing in footy is goal kicking. It really is. Like, for all the things that we want people to be able to do in the game, it's amazing how much we overlook the simple thing of being able to go back and when you've got an opportunity to kick a goal. And anyone who saw the expected score out of the AFL game on the weekend, which you might have already talked about, would probably agree with that, given according to that, Carlton should have beaten us by a goal if they'd kicked straight.
Yeah,
So,
you should get a job at Champion Data, I reckon, Paul. Maybe teach them a few things.
It's one of those things that, with all the advances in the game and in the science around the game and the way we analyse it and study it, and the one thing that just still gets just absurdly overlooked is guys being able to kick goals. I know it sounds obvious, but when a guy like Jaden comes in and, marks in the pocket and you actually feel confident he's going to kick the goal, it's such a, to go back and drill that, what is for a lot of guys might be a 20-80 shot, but for him might be 80-20 the other way. So, he made the most of his chances, kicked 4 and looked terrific, looks like a player. So, after my little rant on goal kicking, to sum that up, I'd say Jaden looked pretty good and hopefully continues to grow from that performance.
It sounds like a real shame that Carlton didn't actually pick him up in the mid-season draft.
Yeah, I'm really flat for him.
Yeah.
I really feel for him.
Heart bleeds.
Yeah. Paul, fan favourite, of course, Anthony McDonald, Tip Moody, another game back in the VFL. The fleeting minutes I was able to watch the VFL game on Sunday, I saw some pretty incredible plays from Tip, but judging by the stats sheet, didn't have a heap of the ball. But how'd you see his afternoon?
Yeah, I think, I reckon if people are judging Waller on the amount of possessions he gets, they'll always be disappointed. He's not going to be a guy who gets a whole heap of footy, but he is a guy who impacts heavily with and without the ball. And that was the case on the weekend. You were right. He did some amazing things. Would he like to get it a few more times? Probably. But, I thought he contributed really well. He was starting in the centre bounces and around the midfield and then sort of drifting forward and was really effective in the contest, whether it was crashing through bodies or tackling or just tapping the footy forward our way or being able to get the clearance himself. I know he only had 10 or 11 touches, but I think he had 5 clearances maybe out of that. I only saw the raw stats after the game, but his impact around the footy is, it belies the small possession numbers. And I think the best way to judge Waller is to actually watch him play and see the stuff he does, because at the end of the game, when you see 10 or 11 possessions and no goals, you think, oh, God, he was quiet. But in reality, he actually had some real impact on the contest and often does from his limited numbers. So, look, he's working really hard. He's putting together, pretty good sort of GPS numbers and that, and really trying to run into some fitness and form. And I suspect we'll probably have him for a little bit longer with us, but he's putting in the work and trying really hard to get back up into the AFL frame.
And one last player, Paul. Nic Martin, of course, continues to push the case for AFL selection, and now there's a little bit of an injury cloud, with Drapes heading into the bye. How do you see his afternoon? And I guess, holistically, how do you see his going? We obviously saw him against West Coast, albeit for a pretty short game, and on the stat sheet, he's banging the door down, and we keep hearing about him, and now other clubs are apparently looking at him, and all this other stuff. How do you see Bryza?
I thought he was fantastic, Briss. Him and I thought he and Kane Baldwin were our 2 real standouts for the day. Thought they were both fantastic and really had a big impact on the game. Bristle's ruck work is always first class. He's a fantastic tap ruckman, but his work around the ground was really good as well. He was able to clunk a whole heap of marks both in front and behind the footy. He had a couple of shots on goal. I think he kicked 1. And, did his sort of 6'8" rover routine a few few times as well where he was able to get some clearances and himself. So he was terrific. He continues to be terrific pretty much every week for us. And he got that one shot in the West Coast game, but, I don't think it can be emphasised enough how difficult it is for a young player to come in knowing it's likely for 1 week and immediately sort of impact, and particularly a big like that, a ruckman who, he's probably a bit of a grinder, Bristle, as a lot of big ruckmen are. He needs the minutes and the Ks to be able to have that impact on the game. And, it was probably always a little bit of a hiding to nothing for him going in for 1 week, but, fantastic for him to have the opportunity to go in and play. And I thought, he got subbed out obviously, but I thought he acquitted himself pretty well. When the opportunity arises, I think he'll be a terrific AFL player for us. And my views on that really haven't changed. He continues to impress every week.
And just another quick last one as well, Paul. You mentioned my man, the Cane Train, before. How'd you see his game?
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. In the end, weight of numbers probably got him a little bit. They had a whole boatload of inside 50s, and eventually his man was able to get hold of a couple in the sort of third and last quarter, but he repelled a whole heap of attacks himself, and he marked the footy really well. He intercept marked at times. He spoiled the footy incredibly well, often one out or even outnumbered at times. He was able to get the footy to deck, and he continues to use the ball fantastically well. He's a terrific field kick, and probably at times needs to use his leg a bit more, needs to back himself in, because he's got a fantastic leg, and we want to see more of it, I reckon. So he was, for me on the day, he looked a cut above the level, and unfortunately for him, he's probably not a dissimilar size to it, Jaden Laverty, who we were talking about earlier. And obviously, we're going to need a bigger key back with Jaden. So as long as Jaden's playing so well, and it's probably going to be tricky for Kane in that role. But he continues to just play fantastic footy at VFL level, and the move back has been a revelation for him.
Paul, no game this weekend, so a weekend off for yourself. Any grand plans?
No.
Well, you've just had a holiday, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm putting together as few plans as humanly possible. Anyone who knows me, don't ask me to do anything on the weekend. I'm looking for a fair bit of not much, boys. That's what I'm after for the weekend. So
sounds pretty good.
No grand plans, but I'll be no doubt still sitting down watching footy at some point. I might even,
of course,
try and get back to my old local if they're. I haven't seen the draw yet, but I might try and get down to the old local and maybe find a dim sim and a beer by a 44-gallon drum or something.
Treat yourself.
Speaking our language, Paul. We'll in that case, we'll touch base in a couple of weeks when we return, and we'll catch up on everything that's happening in the VFL. I think you're playing Port Melbourne that weekend.
We are.
So we'll touch base after that.
It's a grudge match with a few ex-Bomber boys, the Port Melbourne game these days. Heard he's running around there, and one or two others as well. So that's always good to catch up with those boys, and nice to play on, I don't even know what it's called now, TAC Oval, I think. So, hey, you boys, you got a week off to really freshen up a bit now. Take care of any injuries you got. Make sure you get out for a couple of runs, and make sure you're fresh and ready to go in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. I'll speak to my girlfriend this weekend, I think. So that's my plan. Yeah.
Well, that's always appreciated. Yeah. My wife might be looking for dinner or something as well, so we'll see how we go with that.
Exactly.
I'm just going to camp out the front of Vizzy Park, I think.
see if you can find a dim sim while you're there.
Yeah, exactly. Paul, brilliant as always, and we'll touch base in a couple of weeks.
Good to chat, boys. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Paul.
Cheers, Paul.
All right, boys. Paul, great as always. We'll fly through some hot takes before we before we wrap up the show. Mert, you'll be pleased to know that I've omitted all the ones that revolve around male genitalia for you.
Okay, thank you.
Because I know you're getting a bit fed up with them.
Nice change. Yeah, it's good.
So we'll go through a few. Craigo. Thank you, Craigo.
7-seater, 3-litre Peter. Are you kidding me? Who misses half a year of footy and comes up and kicks 5 goals? We can't even find Stewart's foot, and you come off 3 weeks early off the injury list and kick 5 goals. Are you kidding me, Wiedemann? You need to kick a goal because Voss is coming for you, son. He is coming.
I don't think he is, to be
Not
honest.
not bad. Not bad.
He hasn't been. Everyone's so obsessed with Voss, aren't they? It's just this collective It's just murmuring away.
We love a hot prodigy.
It's an interesting one though, because I've been thinking about it, and I think he's a while off now, but I still think that we kind of missed a beat by not bringing him in when he was in form at the start of the year. Like when his kicking bags are 4-5 every week. Just bring him in because he's also the kind of player who's just going to be better in an AFL side.
For sure. You saw how good he looked in that Gold Coast preseason match.
Yeah.
He came on for a quarter and he had a huge impact.
Yeah, pretty good. Next one's from Sean. Thank you, Sean. Bit of a pause. Here we go.
Yeah, go the fucking Don. I was meant to go to the game with the Carlton mate, and he reckons his kid had fucking, I don't know, basketball tournament or some shit on. What a coward. No, I fucking hate Carlton. They suck. I was at the 99 prelim. I really fucking hate those pricks. Shit, it feels good to beat them. I'm just a bit scared about next weekend. No footy. I don't know what I'm going to do. Car the Dons.
Thank you, Sean. Yeah. That was bloody brilliant.
Fucking smoked a few darts, I reckon Sean has in his life. Jesus.
Yeah. That was good.
Well, he can go hang out with Paul.
Yeah.
I reckon he's got nothing to do.
Nothing to do. Give Paul a
Go
call.
eat some dimmies.
Go eat some dimmies. Find some local footy. This one's from PK. This is nice and short and sweet, boys. 3 seconds, this one.
Coach me harder, Braddy.
That's pushing Mert's limits there. That's pushing Mert's limits. No genitalian name, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, that's all good. This one's from Bailey. Thank you, Bailey.
Dog of the week has to go to Adam Sard, boys. Remember when he wanted to leave these mighty Dons for a better club in Carlton? Cop that scumbag. Yo, go Dons!
Thanks, Bailey.
That is nice.
Thank you, Bailey.
But I would still rate to have him. He'd be a really nice replacement for Hindy.
Ooh. Who turned it over more?
Oh, definitely Hind.
Nah, Sardi turns it over so much.
He never turned it over at the Dons.
No,
he's got one kick in him. It's a long kick down the line.
Yeah, because he gets away with it. He gets away with it because it goes really fast. You don't realise that it's a turnover until it eventually is.
Whenever he kicks short, he turns it over.
Yep.
Oof.
2 to go. Dog. Our great friend Lurker with a great one here. Thank you, mate.
Bombers belt blues. Carlton crying. Lurker laughing. Chera. Kerno. Cottrell. Kemp. Kennedy. Kincotta, Cripps, crap, Sard, shit, Wright, wonderful, Menzies, masterful, Martin, magical, Redman, rampant, Ridley, regal, Bombers back, baby.
Lurker's happy.
4 on the trot, baby.
Lurker's
4
happy.
on the trot, baby.
That voice.
It's bloody good. And last one is a longer one, but we haven't heard from Garrett from Canada in a while. So love hearing from Garrett. This is a good one.
Gaz.
So we'll end on
Mighty
Gaz.
Bombers.
Mighty Bombers.
Hey boys, Garrett from Canada here again. Last time I called, I mentioned, I was in the hospital with the kid. Wife would not let me name him Jake Stringer, although he will be Jake to me. Little backstory on how I became a fan. I was a backpacker in Australia in 2013. Me and my brother's first ever live game. We saw the Dockers Bombers in Perth. At halftime, after a couple beers, thought it'd be wise to put $50 on the Bombers. What a comeback. Been a fan ever since. Of course, the saga broke about 2 weeks after that, but I couldn't be a traitor.
Good man.
Moved to Melbourne after that. Been a 10-year member ever since. But as for this week, what a hell of a victory. Fuck those blue baggers. Love to see the young guys getting some action in the middle. How about that string of play that led to the Menzie goal? Oof. Almost as nice as that big hit from Redmond. I guess the real question is,
That was a big hit.
do I book my flight for the grand final now? Probably save a few bucks. Cheers, boys. Up the plains.
He clearly hasn't been an Essendon supporter for long enough because that's one of the worst things you could possibly say, Garrett. Don't be saying that anywhere close to any other supporter.
All I'll say, Gaz, is just make sure we win the first final before you book anything for the last week in September. But as it stands, if we continue on the form we are, we should play a final. Hopefully we play more than one.
Was that Job Masterclass 2013?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a game.
Incredible.
What a game.
Imagine being there. First game.
And putting $50 on the Dons at halftime.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
On you, Garrett. Thanks everyone for sending him through. Apologies to everyone who couldn't make it. Apologies to all the people who wanted to talk about their penis. I had to listen to them today and they were great. Maybe I'll just send them to you, Mert, privately. You can have a listen to them all.
Yeah, no thanks. It's mind-boggling.
Listeners, love your work. Thank you as always. We're taking a break for a week. So no show Thursday, no show Monday. I'm taking a little holiday. I need a little break. Take a little break, everyone. Relax.
If you want to hear my daily Carlton updates, I'll be doing my own podcast for as long as this whole implosion lasts.
What's it called? Carlton Chronicles?
No, it's going to be Carlton something else. So I want to say
So you can listen to that. But I'm taking a well-deserved break. If you happen to be down Tasmania for Dark Mofo on the weekend and you see me in a Plains beanie, come say hi because I will be there. Otherwise, listeners, stay safe. Enjoy the bye week off. Relax. Go do something that's non-Dons related. Chill out, and we'll be back the Thursday to preview the Dockers game, the Darkers, as Garrett eloquently puts it. I'll also be doing a podcast with Duck from the Purple Rain that week. Duck's a bloody legend, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then we'll have the big game, and we'll be back to the regular cycle Monday, Thursday after that. I'll probably try and load up some guests, outside of Essendon, maybe through the back half of the season. Maybe get some interesting faces on to go for Essendon. I reckon that might be a good idea.
Sounds good, mate.
Anything else from you boys before we go?
No.
Anything you want to plug? Mert's Carlton Bashing Podcast. Jesse, anything you want to plug?
No, I'm done.
Jesse's done. Listeners, thank you as always. Love your work. The Peter Wright design went berserk. Thank you to everyone who bought a T-shirt. We appreciate your support. You can find the merch link probably in the show description or on the website.
Amazing what happens when you post the merch when one of the players plays well. What happens?
Yeah, well, imagine what happens when you make a design for a player and then he does his shoulder and is out for half the season. You're like, well, I'm not going to post this, am I? So
I think that's why he kicked 5, because he owed the Sash some sales, some merch sales.
Should we make some fuck Carlton T-shirts?
I mean, maybe. People would buy them.
I feel like we could do.
They actually would.
A lot of people who don't go for other clubs. Like I reckon
this could be tapping into
Collingwood fans, Richmond fans.
What is it?
fans.
Icon Park on fire with Judd running out with fire on his fake hair, or
Judd Corp.
We could also do something with "They Know We're Coming."
They know.
Oh, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, they know we're coming. Yeah, well, you're not. Anyway, boys.
But Ange would never serve you fish and chips.
Not Ange. No, not Ange.
Not Ange.
Not Ange.
Not Angelo.
I will not hear his name disgraced in that fish and chip shop because it's bloody brilliant. Thanks, everyone. Great pod. We'll see you soon. Go Dons.
Go Dons.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Sash, and thanks to Liquorland, who are proud partners of the podcast. Enjoy winter your way with Liquorland. Liquorland, from the land you love, please drink responsibly. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Sash, and thanks to Liquorland, who are proud partners of the podcast. Enjoy winter your way with Liquorland. Liquorland, from the land you love, please drink responsibly.